All right, today we're diving into something, well, it's one of the most intense and personal pieces of writing you might ever come across. It's a meditation by the 17th century genius, Blaise Pascal. And trust me, this isn't just a history lesson or some dry theology. It's a raw, psychological journey right into the final hours of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane.
And Pascal kicks things off with this absolutely haunting line. Right off the bat, he frames this whole event not as something that happened 2,000 years ago, but as something that is still happening right now. It's this urgent, timeless crisis, and he's basically telling us, hey, you are not allowed to be asleep for this.
So, where does all this agony even come from? Well, Pascal immediately makes this really crucial distinction. He argues that the kind of suffering Jesus is going through in the garden is completely, fundamentally different from the physical pain of the crucifixion later on. Pascal draws this super important contrast here. See, the suffering that comes from other people, that's external, it's physical. But in the garden, that's totally different. Pascal says Jesus is suffering a torment he actually inflicts on himself. It's a punishment from an almighty hand, a spiritual agony so massive that really only someone almighty could even begin to bear it. And right in the middle of this incredible, divine internal crisis, Pascal just zooms the camera way in on a deeply human drama. He paints this picture of just profound and absolute loneliness. So at the absolute peak of this unbearable anguish, Jesus doesn't turn up to heaven for comfort. No, he turns to his three closest friends on earth, and he asks for the simplest thing, really. Just stay awake with me. Watch with me for a little while. And this is the moment that reveals the true depth of his isolation. I mean, his friends don't just fail him. They abandon him with what Pascal calls complete indifference. Think about that. Their pity for him isn't even strong enough to keep them awake for a single moment. He is just utterly alone. And Pascal points out something really significant here. This is the only time in his entire life that Jesus complains. He argues this isn't just sadness. No, this is a grief so overflowing, so uncontainable that for just one moment, it has to be spoken out loud. It's the sound of a soul pushed to its absolute limit. Okay, so from this moment of incredibly intense, personal suffering, Pascal starts to build towards a much grander theological point. He draws this absolutely stunning parallel between the agony in this garden and the garden at the very beginning of human history. So Pascal presents us with this powerful contrast, right? Two gardens. You've got Adam's garden, a garden of delight where he fell and, in Pascal's view, took all of humanity down with him. But then you have Jesus's garden, a garden of agony, and it's right here, in the horror of the night, that he saves not only himself but all of mankind. And here's the central paradox of the whole thing. While his friends are asleep, totally unaware, having completely abandoned him, he is actively working to save them. For Pascal, this is a metaphor for all of us. He saves humanity while we're all just asleep in our own sin and nothingness. And just when you think this is all some high-level theological argument, Pascal does something absolutely breathtaking. He completely flips the script. The voice changes. The meditation is no longer about Jesus. Suddenly, it feels like Jesus is speaking directly to you. So what follows is a series of 3 rapid-fire messages. And the first one, it's all about reassurance. It's saying, look, if you are even looking for me, for meaning, for some kind of solace, that search, that longing itself, is proof that you're already on the right path, that you've already been found. And then it gets intensely personal. Pascal frames this agony not as some general act for all of mankind, but as a specific sacrifice for the individual reading these words. That suffering in the garden, he's saying it had your name on it. He makes it this incredibly intimate, one-on-one event. And finally, there's this challenging, almost terrifying line. It's a statement about our own hidden brokenness, but Pascal doesn't leave you hanging. He immediately resolves it. He says that the one telling you this, the one revealing your sins, is also the only one who can heal you. The diagnosis and the cure come from the exact same source. So what's the ultimate point of all this suffering? What's the big takeaway here? Pascal concludes with a really powerful and honestly a demanding vision of what salvation actually means. See, for Pascal, this isn't about just sitting back and being passively saved. No, the path forward is to take your own wounds, your own suffering, your pride, your failures, and actively add them to his. Salvation becomes this kind of fusion, a joining of your own brokenness with his. And the ultimate hope in all of this lies right here. In that garden, Jesus confronted the absolute deepest agony imaginable and healed himself. So, by joining ourselves to him, Pascal argues, we can be sure that we'll get to participate in that very same healing. His victory becomes our victory.
And so Pascal leaves us right here. It's not an easy answer, but a profound, personal question that echoes that very first line we heard. Jesus is in agony until the end of the world, and we must not sleep. The question he leaves hanging in the air is, how do we stay awake? What does it actually mean to add our wounds to his, to join our story to this one?